Hi, I'm Matt, and in this episode we are going to be reviewing the TS832 FPV video transmitter. Now this review is only going to take about 2 minutes so that you can work out whether it's worth you buying it or not. Now it's also worth noting that I bought this out of my own cash and it wasn't sent to me for review. Now the rating system which I'm going to be working to is very simple. Does it do what I need it to do? Does it feel like it's value for money? And if I smashed it and broke it, would I buy another one? So, with that said, let's take a look at this a little bit closer. So, I think we push it out that way round. So, blimey, it's the size of a small continent. So, let's open this one up and take a quick look. Now, the obvious thing is that this thing is absolutely ginormous. So, as I get the ruler on there, so we're about 5.5 centimeters tall by about 3 centimeters wide, or about 1.25 inches, and we are about 1 centimeter deep, or 3/8 or whatever it is in inches. It's absolutely ginormous. We do have some nice little buttons on here, so that button there will be to change our band, and this button here will be to change our channel. On the back, the one thing which I would say that this video transmitter's got going for it is that the buttons are on the front, makes changing frequency bands and channels a lot easier than something else, or one of the other video transmitters, and it does have a microphone built into it as well. When we look in the box, we do get a manual which nobody ever reads, and we do get a nice big thick set of power leads which actually do look like they would be able to power this device. So this is a 600 milliwatt transmitter. The power lead does come in on a JST connector, and they are actually wired the right way round. Then we've got 3 leads coming in on a JR style little servo lead. So the yellow will be our video in, and then we've got 2 other connections which will be the power supply to, I presume, our camera. Now the thing to note is that the voltage range on this one isn't particularly big. I'm just looking over on the other screen. It says 7.4 to 16 volts, so really that's going to be like a 3S battery, and at a push a 4S battery, and definitely not 1S because it probably just won't work. The other thing to note is that when I tested this myself, is that if you put 12 volts in on this line, you end up with 11.5 going to the camera. So there's about a 0.5 voltage drop in this device. And you also do get the stock rubber ducky antenna which fits on the end. A note there, it is a RP-SMA antenna connection. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me just focus on the camera. There we go. You'll see it's got a pin poking out in there. So that's called an RP-SMA. And you'll also know that on your antenna, it doesn't have a pin in it. Okay, so make sure you've got an antenna which fits this one. Besides that, it really is the size of a continent. It's absolutely massive. Now, I want to put this into perspective for you because it does influence my decision, and it might influence your decision. If we put this side by side to a slightly different one, a TS832-582-8S, which I'll put links to all these items in the video description for you, is that if we compare this to another 600 milliwatt video transmitter, yeah, that one is just bigger than my thumb, and this one's about the size of my hand. So yeah, there is a massive size difference between these two. They basically do the same. This one is a 32 channel, this one's a 40 channel. The only negative which I'd say for this one on the left is that to change the channels you have to use these little dip switches on the back, which is a royal pain in the rear. That's why I was saying the buttons on this make it super easy. But to be frankly honest, is that, in fact, let me leave that one there, is that if I was going to buy a video transmitter like this one for a more expensive model, then yeah, to be frankly honest, I would buy something like that. And the reason why I would buy the Immersion RC one at about twice the price is because I want to be guaranteed video signal, and in a premium product like that, you would pretty much guaranteed it, especially if you're using like a diversity receiver at the other end. Also note with the Immersion RC one, and also this little one as well, which is, this one's about a tenner, and this one's about a tenner as well in pound sterling, so maybe like $15 or something like that, is that these two support audio But you'll notice on this one, there's no white or green wires on here, so audio only comes in via the microphone on the back. So if you've got a microphone which you want to fit somewhere else on your aircraft, or your, well, to be honest, it's so big you'd probably weigh down a quadcopter with it, is that you can't have your own audio input. You have to use their inbuilt microphone, which, by the way, is covered. And if you did want to use it, you'd probably want to cut the little bit of plastic off the back. So to answer those 3 critical questions, and by the way, I've gone completely over the 2 minutes. No apologies. I'm trying to keep this as short as I can for you. So to answer the 3 questions, does it do what I need it to do? Yes, it does work. Do I feel that it was value for money? 50-50 if I'm frankly honest. I do like the buttons on the front for changing the channels and the frequency ranges. I do like that a lot. So if I've got a model where maybe previously I've struggled with something like this, or maybe the Immersion RC one because it's got the same little dipole switches on the back, yeah. Was it value for money? It was a tenner. Frankly honest, I'd buy one of those instead. But it does work. It does work pretty well. Yeah. Now, if I smashed it in or broke it, would I buy another? The honest answer is no, I wouldn't. I would buy something like that instead, which would add literally no weight into a quadcopter or even a model airplane. And if I've got an expensive model, then I'll use really good quality kit like the Immersion RC. So I'm afraid that is my honest answer for the TS832 FPV video transmitter. The only good thing is it's got going for it, the buttons are on the front. And it does have a microphone built in. Whether you can class that as a plus or a negative, that's up to you. Now, seeing this item in the flesh, what would you rate it? Do let me know in the comments section underneath this episode. If you have a question about this item, remember, just ask. I bought this out of my own cash, so if it's pants, I'll let you know. Kind of like what I just did, if that makes any sense. If this review has been and helped you, remember hitting the like button is always appreciated, and a link to this item, and the alternative items are in the video description for you. Now, as always, from myself, Matt, thank you ever so much for taking the time to watch this episode, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheerios!